This was released a few days ago. Some of you may have seen it. I want you to watch this. And I'll briefly comment about the video. It's very short. Take a look.
Video obtained by 12 News just today is giving us our first look at the confrontation between a Milwaukee County judge and federal agents inside the county courthouse.
Her actions that day leading to her arrest and indictment in a story that's now gone national. Judge Hannah Dugan is accused of trying to help Eduardo Flores Ruiz evade ICE agents. He was scheduled to be in Dugan's courtroom in a domestic violence case.
12 News' Nick Bohr is live at the courthouse this afternoon. Nick, we got that video in response to an open records request today. County officials gave us quite a large file late this morning, and we've been combing through that video all day.
Well, we sure have, but for the first time, we see Judge Hannah Dugan up on the 6th floor here interacting with those federal agents 1 month ago, and how the wanted man left the courthouse with an agent trailing behind him, and for the first time, how he was arrested out front here. For the first time, we're seeing Judge Hannah Dugan outside her courtroom April 18th, wearing her black robes, appearing to confront several federal agents there to arrest Eduardo Flores Ruiz, a Milwaukee man and Mexican national charged locally with 3 counts of domestic battery. This video, released by Milwaukee County through an open records request, is part of the evidence in the case against Judge Dugan, who's charged with obstructing a federal investigation concealing Flores Ruiz, allowing him to leave her courtroom by a different door after sending the agents to speak to the chief judge. Flores Ruiz, dressed in black with his attorney, is seen in several of the videos leaving by that other door. One prosecutors say was used by jurors and not open to the public. As he leaves, though, he is seen in the hallway, followed by another agent. As Flores Ruiz gets into the elevator to leave, the agent slips in as well. According to the criminal complaint against Dugan, that agent followed them down. The agent seen here following out of the building downstairs, and once backup arrived, they tried to arrest Flores Ruiz, who another video shows ran north in front of the courthouse for nearly a block before agents caught up with him and arrested him. Federal agents arrested Dugan herself a week later.
And Nick, it is not often we get responses to open records requests this quickly, or even when they're a part of an open investigation,
right,
particularly a federal investigation. Do you know why the county released that video now?
Well, that's unclear. We did ask, of course. We made the request immediately when the incident happened here at the courthouse. We did ask the U.S. Attorney's Office, which is prosecuting Dugan, about that video released today, whether they signed off on it or were even aware of it. They responded, though, with a no comment.
Nick Bohr live outside the Milwaukee County Courthouse here this afternoon. Eduardo Flores Ruiz's domestic violence case is moving through the Milwaukee County Court. He is, however, in federal custody on his immigration arrest. The FBI arrested Judge Dugan at the county courthouse 1 week later on April 25th. She pleaded not guilty in a federal court last week.
Judge Dugan, your response.
That's Dugan exiting the federal courthouse after an arraignment last week. Her legal team filed a motion to dismiss the case, calling it unconstitutional and saying that she is entitled to judicial immunity. A judge set a tentative trial date for July 21st.
Now, look, I've been in a lot of courtrooms over my time as a police officer. A lot. And I've also been in a judge's chambers a lot. And I've also been in those types of hallways you saw that are reserved generally for the judges and for jurors, for law enforcement, for custody officers, but they're not reserved and not used to secrete fugitives. You saw this judge in the hallway. Don't know what she said, but she's out talking to those federal agents. I can only assume that she's, first of all, trying to identify who they are and specifically what they're there for. She knew they were out there. She was out doing her reconnaissance because at that point, she's formulating her plan to make sure that those agents don't come in contact with the fugitive that she wants to secrete. And she wants to get out of that building in order to prevent them from taking him into custody. That's exactly what she was doing. She was formulating her plan. By the way, not to mention, I'm going to speculate here, speculate on everything. I don't know what she said, but pretty straightforward, pretty apparent. I wouldn't be surprised if she was hoping to intimidate those agents, going out there in her robes and showing herself off. Wouldn't surprise me a bit if that's what she was doing. It's despicable. Now, what does this have to do with New Orleans, the escape? It speaks for itself. Look at the people who've been arrested and are being held with high bails, because they assisted, they aided, they abetted, and then they delayed law enforcement. They made it more difficult for law enforcement to apprehend these murderers and other violent criminals. By the way, not to mention putting officers in danger. You see here with the Dugan case, after those agents, they stuck to it. They found the guy back out in the public hallway and followed him down. What did he do? He ran. They had to chase him for a block before they caught him. Does that put the officers in more danger than they would have if they'd been able to arrest him in a public place right there in a confined location with force around him in that courtroom or the courthouse? Of course it did. She's responsible for the risk that those officers, agents endured. She's responsible for that. And any harm that might come to an officer, an agent in Louisiana or wherever these guys are, they're now the last two, any officer that finds himself or herself in harm's way or gets injured, or God forbid, something worse when they're trying to take one of these violent monsters into custody, it's because people inside and outside of that facility in New Orleans aided these people and made it more difficult for law enforcement to do their job safely. This is why it's so important for a judge like Dugan to be held accountable, to be held to the highest extent of the law, because she is supposed to be the final say, so to speak, in the law. And she violated it. She put these agents at risk, and I hope that she pays the price criminally.